Welcome back to Daytime. You know, it is one of my favorite segments that happens on a monthly basis here at the station, and it's the one that makes my poor husband go, oh, the list is going to get longer now. Pioneer Craftsman Limited joining us to show us some of the wonderful renovation work that they do for your home. It's a great time to be renovating with that tax credit going on and everything. And we've got Jennifer Dainard joining us from Pioneer Craftsman Limited. Welcome back again.
Thank you. Good to be back.
You know what, the phones must just be ringing at Pioneer now with everybody thinking, this is the time. And I think because now we're coming indoors again, it's that time where we're looking around suddenly and going, oh, I don't like that. Or, you know, we're in that space, we need to use it better now.
Absolutely, we're doing our best to keep up with all the calls that are coming in and making time for everybody.
And again, one of the things that differentiates you guys is that you really take the time to come up with a plan. I mean, you discuss all facets of the construction bill, make sure that your clients are as well educated as possible, versus some I don't want to say fly by night, but you know, other organizations that might just be kind of more inclined to, okay, well, let's just go and plan as we construct.
Yeah,
you guys
definitely.
are very different.
Different approaches for different people work well, and we just find the kind of clientele that come to us are very interested in being sensitive to the design and making sure that the details and the plans are in place before we start the project, rather than trying to ask them for answers and decisions on the fly. It makes a huge difference for what the final product becomes and keeps costs under control too.
Well, and that's exactly what happened with the project that we're going to take a look at today. This is a family, very active family. They have certain specifics that they wanted incorporated in the renovation that they're doing in their basement. And you had to kind of sit down and sort through what was important, what might not be so important to them.
That's for sure. And it was a fairly good size home. So coming into, for instance, the basement, which was one part of the job that we did there, it was a lot of square footage. It wasn't necessary for them to have all of the square footage finished. And I think that often people think, I'm finishing the basement, I've got to do it all. But really, when we started to analyze their needs and the kinds of things they needed to incorporate within the space, coming back to them with some plan options to say, you know what, we don't have to go whole hog here and blow the budget. We can stick to a certain size and really get you everything you want packed into that, and really did succeed on that front there.
Wow. When you see large square footage like that, I just have to ask you, Jennifer, do your eyes just go open? The things we could do, because I know you're such a creative person. Your mind just must go into overtime sometimes.
It can. It's sometimes interesting, though, how a smaller space makes you be a little bit more creative with it, too, though. So there's two ways of looking at it. So large space, you've got all the room you want to do with it, and small space, you have to pull out a different creative hat. So.
All right. Well, I know we have some before pictures of the project that you were working on, and maybe as we take a look at them, you can kind of talk about what the family's needs were and what needed to be changed.
Sure. What's up there right now is actually an existing main bathroom that needed some upgrading. They were really finding that the existing finishes in the home were kind of sort of maybe not exactly builder basic, but pretty close to that, and wanted things to have finer finishes and nicer details to them. So we approached the main bathroom with a facelift is what we ended up doing. This is of a shared bathroom that is between the two boys' bedrooms. The layout wasn't working very well. Again, more builder grade finishes. Just didn't have the quality level that they were looking for. This is the same bathroom. That vanity was tucked just back to the left of the tub area. Yeah, and then the toilet sat to the right of it. So it became this kind of tunnel where the middle of the tunnel was taken up by the tub, and then you had these tiny little corners that were tucked in for the things that are visually maybe more appealing, like the vanity. So yeah, it was a challenge to come up with something there, and then we also did the unfinished basement needed to be created as well.
Okay, so with the family dynamic then, how big a family was it? Were they looking for, and we're seeing some of the unfinished basement here now. Older kids, like what were they looking for in the space?
3 kids under the age of, I believe, 13 or 14, 2 boys and a girl. Very active family in the sense that sports were very important to them. All the kids play hockey, including their daughter, which I was very impressed by. They're in soccer in the warmer seasons. It was really important that the kids had a place that they could go and hang out that wasn't main floor space. They could kind of get out of the way. But at the same time, they wanted it to also be entertainment space where they could have overflow in large groups of people at one time. So a bar became something a little bit of a priority there. They had developed in part of the unfinished basement as it stood a hockey arena of all things. So the kids brought all their friends over and played hockey, and it was a cool space, but they wanted to still be able to hang out downstairs while the kids could play hockey and enjoy the space as adults, and that it still be kid friendly.
Right. Okay. Well, it sounds kind of like the big challenge here is that mix between kid friendly and adult friendly too, and
Yes.
meeting that sort of balance. How
right.
do you go about doing that?
It's about making sure that we're using finishes that are going to be friendly to kids. Things being spaced out so that kids aren't going to run into stuff as they're trying to turn a corner. Making sure that just the scale of everything fits for both. You don't want it so small that adults don't feel like participating in the space. They're growing kids. They're going to be, most of them, teenagers very shortly. So a matter of having enough space for them to hang out with a bunch of friends.
I'm just curious about the finishing thing. I mean, you mentioned ones that are friendly for kids. I mean, what were some of the things that immediately jumped into your mind in terms of materials you wanted to use, or
Things that weren't really delicate, let's put it that way.
No porcelain,
No
no
por-
china.
No, not that way. And I mean, really knowing that there was a hockey arena in part of the area, if that door was open and a hockey puck was going to go swinging out the door, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to hit anything important. So just keeping traffic areas really easily accessible was a big part of it.
And part of what I think as a mom is, okay, keep it plain, keep everything plain, and yet you're doing a renovation, so you don't just want it to be walls
Just
and
drywall.
plain color.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
And with as much as the kids are so active, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't all drywall space that you can knock a hole in easily, that kind
True.
of thing.
Yep.
And she wanted some detail that gave it a funky edge and something kind of contemporary. So actually, when you do see the after pictures, we approached it with a kind of a panel grid system on the family room walls that is made of MDF board that's painted. So it's going to stand up a little bit better again than drywall will, and adds a really neat detail. And we did some hidden doorways, that kind of thing in there. So some fun elements.
okay, well, you mentioned the after. When we come back, we will take a look at that after transformation of the basement and the bathrooms and everything else, courtesy of Pioneer Craftsman Limited, okay? We'll be back in just a moment.